Hi everybody, Wendy from Cinnamon Sweet Shop. Today I'm going to be making some Italian rainbow cookies. Now it's funny they call them Italian cookies because you will often see them in Jewish bakeries as well. And somebody had asked me why do they call them Italian rainbow. I have no idea. I'm assuming, and maybe if any of you know, you can comment below whether I'm right or if you do know the reason why. But this is my assumption, is that the layers, they're different colors. They kind of look like the Italian flag. So that's my guess on why they call them that. As I said, comment below if you know the real reason why. Oh, and by the way, I am making mine a healthier, reduced sugar version of these cookies. So here's what I'm using. 4 eggs, of course. For the sweetener, I'm using my stevia blend, but I'm using half stevia blend and half organic sugar. That does cut it down to some degree. I always use my whole wheat pastry flour, makes it a little healthier. Melted, earthbound, vegan buttery sticks. I'm not vegan, obviously, or else I wouldn't be using eggs, but it is a healthier fat, less saturated, and that's why I always use the vegan buttery sticks rather than actual butter, and never use margarine. This is a seedless raspberry jam. It is sugar-free. You can make your own if you want to take the time, or you could just go on the hunt for a sugar-free seedless raspberry jam. I'm using almond paste. Again, you can buy this, it's much quicker, but it does have sugar. I do make my own, and I make mine a reduced sugar almond paste. I will eventually someday put up a recipe on how to make it yourself. If not, you could possibly search online, but until then, you could buy it as well. A little bit of salt, some almond extract, food coloring, green and red. Now, for the candy glaze, I'm using some semi-sweet chocolate chips. You could use bittersweet, has less sugar, or you could use a combination of semi-sweet and bittersweet. That'll help cut down as well. I just find that the little bit of chocolate that's going to be covering this is minimal compared to the cookie, so I don't mind having semi-sweet. I am using a little bit of shortening. Now, I know what you're saying, but shortening's really bad for you. Yes, Crisco's bad. I am using Spectrum brand, which is found in health food stores. It's made of palm oil. No shortening is really good for you, and it is fattening. So if you're going to use shortening, well, one, it's only a little bit that I'm putting in here to thin it out when I melt it. But two, it's a better option. Now, I'm also using an 11-inch by 7-inch pan that you see here. It's going to take me a little bit longer to make these because I only have one pan. So we're going to make layers. I'm going to have to bake each layer separately, which will take me about 20-30 minutes longer to make this. If you happen to have 3 of these size pans, you'll get done a lot quicker. But again, not necessary. It's just going to take you a little longer. So I am using my KitchenAid for this recipe. We're going to beat together the eggs and then the sugar or the sweetener, whatever you use. Now we're going to beat this for about 2 to 3 minutes. It should be a lemony yellow color. Gradually add in the almond paste. So I'm just going to do a few pieces at a time. This is chopped into small pieces. So blend this in a little bit and then just add more until it's done. Now you want to make sure that the almond paste is thoroughly combined. So it's going to take a while. You may have to smash it against the side, cut it into little tiny pieces when you add it in. This will be very thick and light in color as well. I'm going to add in the flour next. I'm going to mix that together. My butter, as I said, was melted, but it is cooled, so add that in. Blend that real well. The salt, and then the almond extract. Just mix this until well combined. I divided the dough into 3 sections. You could either eyeball it, or if you're anal like me, you could just measure it out on a scale. One of the thirds we're going to push to the side, leave it as is. The other 2 we're going to color. So I'm going to make one green and one red. So guys, as I said, I only have the one pan, so it will take me a little longer. Now we're going to take one of these. I guess I'll start with red. Really doesn't matter. Just want to make sure they're mixed real well so there's no streaks in here. And I got bright colors because I use the gel paste colors, but you can use the liquid food color drops as well. Spread this in the pan. Now I am shaking this around a lot and banging it. Not only it'll even it out a bit, but it'll also help take some of the air bubbles out of it. Bake this in a 375-degree oven for about 7 to 11 minutes. Keep an eye on it. The edges will slightly brown, but don't let it overbake. And we're going to do the same thing with both of these. I have all three of my layers baked. I do have the pink in the center for a reason, because we're going to put the filling on top of that first. Now, with my raspberry seedless jam, I'm going to use a spatula, a couple spatulas, and a tablespoon. Obviously, you can use as much or as little of this as you want. So it's going to be about 2 tablespoons for this layer. Spread it out with the spatula. Make sure the sides are totally covered, the corners here as well. Now we're going to take the non-colored, I guess you could say the original color, layer and place this on top. So you want to carefully do this. This is a bit flexible, so it shouldn't break, but you still want to be careful. Place it directly on top like so. Looks good. And then we're going to put the remainder of the jam on this layer. And then again, carefully place the green layer on top of that. Just pat it down a little bit. Now before I glaze this with the chocolate glaze, I have a serrated knife and I like to go around the edges here. You see where it's a little brown from the baking and it's just not even, and then you have the jam seeping out of the side a little. I like to just go around and cut the edges off. Gives it a bit of a neater appearance as well. That little bit of shortening, just add it to your chocolate chips and then melt this in the microwave. Again, keep it on 20 to 30-second interval so you don't burn it. Mix well in between. My chocolate's nice and smooth. I'm going to use half of it on the top. So just to pour this. And you notice I have this on a cooling rack on top of a tray. That's so that anything that drips down I can scrape back up and reuse. Again, make sure you get these sides and edges. Put this in the refrigerator for 20 minutes to let it set. When that sets, just flip it around and with the remaining chocolate, cover the other side and put that in for 20 minutes as well. You may have to reheat the chocolate, that's fine. Once it sets, you can then cut them into pieces. Now, I like to make mine 1 inch by 1 inch. I did cut some. Here's what it looks like. Nice little bite-sized pieces. They're really good. The recipe with the ingredients measured out, the measurements for the ingredients are at my website, cinnamonsweetshop.com. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel for much more coming up. See you all next time.